Hello and welcome to an episode of Atomic Vinyl Reviews. My name's Jacob and I'm here today with my little puppy. Her name's Coffee if you haven't met her already. I'm actually not sure if I've introduced her on the channel yet or not because I think I haven't uploaded the video that I did with her beforehand. But we'll put her down for now because today we have a very, very exciting unboxing to do. So I have this lovely package here which I actually picked up from AliExpress all the way from China, and theoretically what should be in it is the Bandai Namco MechaGodzilla figure from the 2021 movie Godzilla vs. Kong. So I'm super excited to get to this one because as far as I'm aware, nobody in the Western world has actually put out a proper review or an unboxing of this thing. The closest I've seen is a friend of mine, Harold, from the Figure Mania show. On his Instagram, he put out a little trailer where he seems to have gotten this figure and kind of done like a vague little unboxing, but it's more of a trailer of an upcoming review, so I'm definitely going to check out his video when it comes out. But for the moment, it seems like nobody's actually done a video on this thing, because at present you can only technically get this thing in Asia. They're only selling it in Asia, but I found it on AliExpress, and it's probably for a bit more money than it probably would be had it come out, you know, globally, or for whatever people are paying for it in Asia. But I figured I really got to get my hands on this thing because it looks like a fantastic figure. So I bit the bullet and I ordered it, and you know, it's AliExpress, so you hear that they can be a bit dodgy. Personally, I've had pretty much only positive experiences when it comes to AliExpress, but you know, today could be the day. We'll see. So let's actually get into it. So it's a very big package here, as you guys can see. Big package, but it actually feels pretty light. So I think potentially this could be the right figure. So let's start off by getting rid of the external plastic wrap. I can already feel it's got some padding under it, so that's very good. Because, you know, you want as much padding as you can get. Yep, as you can see, got the plastic here, and oh my. I can already see a MechaGodzilla face there. That's exciting. That is really exciting. Okay. So this figure is, yeah, Bandai Namco, also known as the BN MechaGodzilla, from a lot of people calling it. I don't really know much about this thing, except for it seems to be basically done in the same scale as the Ichiban Kuji Godzilla figure that they put out, which is a Yuji Sakai sculpt, which is, you know, similar to those Banpresto figures they put out a couple of years ago for various other Godzillas. So it seems to be in that kind of 20 centimeter-ish scale. I'll actually measure this thing for you guys, just so we can see how big this thing actually is once I open it up, but looks to be legit. Oh god, the box has a big dent in it though. That's not good. You can see that there. Big dent in the box. Big dent. That's unfortunate, but again, we're ordering from AliExpress, so this kind of stuff is more typical of them. Luckily, this thing, from what I understand, should be a vinyl figure. So vinyl figures tend not to be damaged that easily by something like this, but that's nasty. Your box should not look like this, especially with the amount that I spent on this thing. Bloody hell. Thanks. Postage from China. Oh well. It looks legit, like it's the actual correct figure, so that's what I'm relieved about, because I was worried this could be some random bootleg or something. Oh wow. Put that off to the side. Oh man. But there we go. MechaGodzilla. Before we open this thing up, even though it's like barely holding itself together, let's take a good look at this box. There's the front image of the box. Looking really cool. We got the 2021 MechaGodzilla design. I have kind of mixed feelings about this design, though. I do feel like I am liking it more and more with every time I see it, and particularly with each new figure I get of this particular MechaGodzilla. Of course, we got the horribly bent corner here. Up on this side, it actually says BN figure, so Bandai Namco, I'm assuming. That's what that might mean. Or, actually no, it's buildup&Newgeneration. Oh, okay, BN figure. That makes sense. I thought when people calling this thing the BN MechaGodzilla, I thought that was just short for Bandai Namco. But it's actually buildup&Newgeneration. So that's really interesting. Both things say BN. Interesting. Around the side here, we got another picture of this MechaGodzilla from the front. That looks really neat and really cool. Around the back, we got some stuff in, looks like it's either in Japanese or Chinese. Let's actually take a look there. That appears to be Chinese, most of it. Although on the right-hand side, that might be a little bit of Japanese. Interesting. So I don't know what that says. I can put it through a translator app later on if I feel so inclined. And around the back, where again it's barely holding itself together, so we're gonna open this one up really soon. We got a bunch of images of the figure from different angles, and I really like this image of it here. It's nice and big and it's coming out of the shadows. This looks really cool. The sculpt on this thing, if it's anything like these pictures, it'll be legit really nice. But nothing on the bottom of the box. But yeah, really disappointed in the state of this box. If this wasn't from AliExpress, if this was from some sort of reputable seller, this would not be acceptable. This is very, very bad. It's like someone stepped on this, which they do when they post stuff, actually. I've seen videos of posting sorting centers where they literally just climb piles of packages. But most of the time, I'm lucky enough not to get something like this, so yeah, disappointing. I really hope the figure's intact. Because this thing is like barely holding itself together, I just have one little bit of tape to cut on this side, and it opens up like so. We got some little scanny things here. I'm not really sure what that'll do. Maybe I'll test those out later, maybe not. We got another little piece of paper. Again, something in Chinese. Who knows what it says? Something on that phone. And there's a figure. Excellent. Smells very plasticky, this does. As does most new figures, but that's to be expected. Come on. There we go. There we go. So, inside of our box, empty now. We'll put that to the side. There's our figure in a what looks like some white plastic surrounding this thing. But it looks like it's the legit figure. It's the figure. I mean, luckily the damage seems to have been confined to this clamshell packaging. So I think they're okay. Opening it up. Okay, here's our figure. It's got a very delicate, semi-translucent plastic over it. And here it is. Oh my god, guys. There it is. The elusive Bandai Namco, or buildup&Newgeneration's BN MechaGodzilla. It's here. It's a legit listing. Legit figure. Oh, that's sweet. So indeed, this is a vinyl figure like an X Plus or like your Banpresto figures, and indeed it does appear to be in that same scale. Very, very cool. So far, let's see. I'm seeing if this is just one whole piece of plastic or if it's got any seam lines or anything. I think this arm's probably a separate piece, maybe the jaw. But looks pretty much like it's just one big solid vinyl figure. Nice vinyl statue. Wow. This thing is neat. I'm gonna put this to the side and we'll talk about this guy. First of all, the sculpt on this thing looks legitimately very, very well done. Very accurate to the film. It's almost on par, I think, to the Monster Arts figure, which I actually have in my collection now. I've filmed the unboxing and I have it. It's just off to the side here. I just haven't uploaded that video yet because I knew this one was coming really soon and I wanted this video to be out first, just because I wanted this to be, filmed and edited as soon as possible to get this out to you guys. But pretty much, aside from the areas where it's clearly modified a little bit just to function as a solo vinyl figure, the hips here between all these pistons, it's got, just solid plastic there, or under the tail here, in between all these bits, it's just got, solid plastic to just kind of fill in that space. Aside from the areas where they compensate for being a vinyl figure like that, the detailing is very precise and very well done. Looking very, very good, actually. I like the hands on this thing. Lots and lots of detail there. I do apologize about the video here not being the best lighting-wise. It's a bit harsh and a bit hard to sort of get a real natural sense of this figure. I will be doing a proper review of this thing with better lighting and all that sort of stuff, better picture and stuff like that later on. I just really wanted to get this unboxing video out of the way as soon as possible because, like I said, I don't think anyone else has done a video on this figure yet, and I really wanted to have the pleasure of having the first one out there in the collecting community here. So yeah, I really couldn't wait till tomorrow when I have better lighting. Not that I actually have time to do the video tomorrow anyway, but that's neither here nor there. So back to the figure. What I really love is the spines on this thing. They're nice and big, so they're not small like the Playmates figure or the Bandai vinyl. They're not sort of shrunken down. They're nice and big, and they have the little red details running all down them. Like even the Monster Arts, there's a nice variety of grays and different silvers throughout this figure. You can tell it's all the same silver as the base color, that it has been airbrushed with various darker grays and things just to bring out some details, which is something I talked about in my review of the Monster Arts version of this guy, where I said that the Kiryu figure, especially the heavy arms version from Monster Arts, really did that effectively. And this guy here has a similar thing going on, especially around in these areas here, and where else? On various bits like here, just to really outline some of those mechanical details, and it really helps bring depth to the figure. That's really nice. Just look at the detail work running down that tail, for example. Look at that. Again, I'm really sorry about the lighting being quite harsh, so it's really hard to get a good sense of this guy. I will have better video later on. Oh, and you can actually see there's something written on his leg there, on his ankle. That says Legendary Godzilla Trademark Toho. Alright. Under his feet you've just got mechanical detailing. Really nice. There's a good look at his face there. Now I've got a nice look at more of his body there. He's in this slightly crouched pose, very wide stance in his legs. It's a nice dynamic pose, actually. I like how it's not very symmetrical. It's got a lot of fluidity and motion in it, especially with his tail kind of curving like that as well. That's really cool. Again, this is just a bizarre MechaGodzilla design. I'm still like I said, every time I see a new figure of this thing, I kind of like it even more. But the design itself, it's so weird. The proportions are just so bizarre to me. Like the very thin lower body here, the very bulky chest, the arms and the legs just being these really blocky, huge things, and the neck being tiny on this thing. It's very odd. And the face design is very odd in general. It's very weird. It's a very busy design as well, which really kind of almost evokes the Michael Bay Transformers series, where they had the very busy mechanical designs. I think it's a little better done here than it is on some of those particular Transformers, but it still kind of evokes that kind of a design. I think it's very well executed in this particular figure, actually. Yeah, really nice. There are some areas where the details aren't quite as crisp as the Monster Arts one, I'd say. Maybe this front part of the chest right here, and just areas where it looks kind of plasticky, which is to be expected because, this is plasticky, and especially like I was pointing out between the legs here. but it is a really nice looking piece. I think, like I was saying earlier, probably the best looking thing about it is the fins and the face, actually. That looks really good. The fins just look like they could be made out of actual metal. They have that bright aluminium silver tint to them, which looks very convincing, very good. Looks like they could even be made of a harder plastic or metal, but they're still made of that sort of softer vinyl that you'd expect a Bandai vinyl or an X Plus or a Banpresto, that kind of a figure to be made out of. The face, again, is beautifully detailed. It captures all those weird details that this particular MechaGodzilla had very well. Hopefully that gives you a nice look at him. Let's actually see how big this thing is. So, it's not the biggest figure in the world, but for this MechaGodzilla, it's quite large. So it's definitely smaller than the big Playmates figure here. This guy's really cool, although he's very toy-like. Not as toy-like as the smaller versions from Playmates of this guy. This guy's actually got some pretty nice detailing to him in a lot of places. It's just the paintwork that really lets this one down, and the articulation. But when you compare the two, this one's really got the size, whereas this one's got the sculpt to it and the actual detailing and attention to detail where it comes to the paintwork and stuff like that. So even though this one has no articulation, it's just the pose is so much better on this thing. It just looks a lot better and a lot more accurate to the film. Again, you can see this one's spines, they're just really clunky and they just look really off. Whereas this one has a nice, properly proportioned spines, which look really good. Really like that. Nice mechanical looking thing. I'm gonna guess he's, yeah, just over 20 centimeters wise. That's maybe 8 or 9 inches, something like that. It's hard to gauge. Just doing it freehand. That's about how tall he is. And what he should scale with really well is this guy here. So this is the Ichibansho figure. I forgot the brand that actually put this one out. They used to be put out by Banpresto, which is actually linked to Bandai. I don't remember the exact brand that put this one out, or if it's just the same brand under a different name or something. But nonetheless, this guy here seems to be, from what I've seen, made for this figure. So look at these two together. That's actually really cool. So this one is a Yuji Sakai sculpt. I really love this thing. I think the scale is pretty accurate. This MechaGodzilla in the film seemed really big, even next to Godzilla, and he's actually crouching quite low with his wide stance here. So I think height-wise, they actually fit pretty well here. Yeah, that is really cool. I actually really want a Kong to go with these two. That would be really sweet. A Kong in this scale, that would be amazing. So hopefully, fingers crossed in the future, somebody puts a Kong out that'll fit with these. Let me know if there is one already on the market. Hopefully not really in a huge price range. That would be ideal. But another Godzilla figure that could probably go well with this guy is a bootleg figure, which I recently acquired and did some videos on. So this guy here. So this is the Hyper Solid series Godzilla bootleg figure, also from AliExpress. I'm also fairly convinced this guy here isn't a bootleg. It doesn't... Nothing about it really comes across as bootleggy. It looks like it's a very quality figure and seems to match all the stock images that I've seen of this thing really well. Yeah, really cool. So this one's in approximately the same scale, and they also seem to look great together as well. Yeah, really nice. And to also give you guys an idea, I'll bring in a slightly bigger figure. This is the X Plus Large Monster Series Godzilla 2019 figure. He's quite large. Even for a 25 centimeter scale Large Monster Series figure, he's quite large, so obviously not a good pairing, but just to give you an idea as to how big this vinyl is, I thought I'd bring him in. So there you guys go. And let's bring in some more MechaGodzilla figures. So, just for the lols, I figured the little pop vinyl version here. So, that gives you an idea. He stands about twice as big as this pop vinyl, and bear in mind he's also crouching down somewhat. So that gives you guys a little idea if you guys own this figure. The Bandai vinyl. So, this is actually a great Bandai vinyl for what it is. But, yeah, at this point, because I have the Monsterverse, because I have this thing, this one's kind of become redundant. It is nowhere near as impressive as these newer figures now, but I was initially really impressed with this Bandai vinyl. Well, there we go. Got a much more larger, much more dynamic figure with the BN MechaGodzilla here, the Bandai Namco. You can also bring in the Little Playmates figure. Not too happy with this one in particular. He has trouble standing. The sculpt is really mushy and just the proportions are way off. It's not a very well put together figure. I still like it. I think positively of it, but compared to every other figure that I have of this particular MechaGodzilla, this one's definitely at the bottom of the pile. And now we can compare it to this lovely vinyl here. Yeah, no comparison between these two. And finally, this is probably the only one in my collection that's really going to be a competitor over this guy because it's fully articulated. The detailing on it is very crisp. It's just perfect in a lot of ways. The only real downside to it is some stiff joints and the paintwork potentially lacking some depth. Again, in my review, I talk about how I don't really care. I think it looks great as is, but I've seen a lot of people really complain about this one. But it's the Monster Arts figure, obviously. And for a Monster Arts, it's quite big. So when you do pair these two together, you can see that the size difference is, I mean, it's definitely there, but it's not as substantial as even the Bandai vinyl, for example, or something like that. Yeah, that's a really good example between these two. Now, I'm actually not sure if the Monster Arts would be capable of being in this exact pose, because again, the joints can be a little stiff on this guy, and trying to be as delicate as I can with him, with especially the joints of the pistons and his hips and areas like that, because they can be a little bit iffy. I haven't had any problems at all, but I've been pretty delicate with my one. But yeah, detailing wise, both of these figures are very good. They look really spot on. I'm just kind of looking at both of them and the details, they seem to match pretty damn well on both of these guys. So I'm very happy with both these figures. Yeah, that is my kind of rushed unboxing of this cool and really hard to get Bandai Namco figure. So hopefully this guy does get a release globally. At present, again, apparently you can only get it in Asia. I was able to get it because somebody decided to sell it on AliExpress, which is of course a site that pretty much sells stuff direct from China. It's like factory direct from China almost, from what I understand. So that's how I was able to get this guy. It's kind of hard to find listings for this thing. You really just have to sift through a lot of Godzilla related products and look at the recommended items, and you might get lucky and find this thing. That's how I found it. Yeah, fingers crossed that you get what's actually pictured, because they can be a little iffy sometimes, especially with bootlegs being really common on that site. But if you find one, it's probably going to go for a fairly hefty price. I got this one at, I think, 160-ish Australian dollars, thereabouts, give or take a tiny bit. So US dollars, that's going to be considerably less, about a quarter or a third less. That's about what I paid for it. Yeah, I'm not regretting it because, again, at the moment, you really can't get this thing any other way unless you live in Asia. And like I said, my good friend Harold from the Figure Mania show, he lives in Taiwan, so he was able to get his hands on one of these. But as far as I know, he's not actually put out a proper review or anything of it as of yet. He could have done while I'm filming this, for all I know. But we'll get to see that. But yeah, I'm really happy with this thing. I think it's really cool. Does a great job at capturing a very complicated design in a nice, very sort of hardy figure like this, because, you know, this is made of a sort of softer vinyl, basically like a Bandai vinyl, but I think it's made of a slightly better vinyl, and it's not something that's gonna snap. Bits of it aren't gonna break like a Monster Arts potentially, because it's slightly rubberized, but the detailing is pretty much all there. The paintwork looks really neatly done on it, and it looks very accurate to the film. So this is a great figure. I hope it becomes more accessible to you guys. But till then, I wish you guys luck trying to get your hands on this thing. Again, AliExpress is probably your best bet at this point, or if you have some contacts over somewhere in Asia, maybe they can help you out. But yeah, that is it for my unboxing. I will see you guys in my next video, which should either be my full review of this or my unboxing of the Monster Arts figure, which bear in mind I filmed before this. So I won't have this figure in that video, but yeah. So, till then, may all your vinyl be irradiated vinyl. Over and out. Bye.